Welcome to All Set for Sunday, a podcast for busy and distracted Catholics to be a little more prepared for Sunday Mass. My name is Scott Williams. My co-host is Jeff Traylor.
And we did that well. That was good.
Yeah. And before, when we didn't have a video on there, we could
Oh, you were gesturing at me. I forgot about the video.
Well, no, yeah. Hey, everybody.
Hey.
We'll probably post this on YouTube.
Thanks for joining us.
But Father Tim Wichiscala is joining us today. Hey,
hello. Good to be back.
How are you today?
I'm doing well. As I said, if I'd have known that we were going to put this video on, I would have shaved today, but that's all right. There's just 5 o'clock shadow.
I didn't.
We're doing well, though. Good to see you.
I came to your parish on Sunday, and that was fun.
Yeah, I know. It was good to see you there.
Good job.
No, you came on Saturday for our vigil.
That's true.
Ooh,
That's true.
Look how observant Father Tim is.
And we only went...
It's something most people don't say.
But it was for Sunday Mass, so what you said was also true.
That's correct. That's correct. And I was in and out of the narthex only 4 times, which was great with my 2-year-old.
Were there any other children back there, or was it just you? The 4:30 is not usually a big Mass for little kids, so...
No, just us and some grown adults.
Yeah.
In the narthex, we did have like a mini cry room forming over on our side of the church.
Yeah.
There was a lot of action happening over there, but it was fun. And when I say our side, yes, everybody, Scott and I sat next to each other at Mass. That's
right.
Did just work out, but...
And Hannah kept saying, Jesus Christ.
Yes. Hannah's very formal in her reference to our Lord and Savior. She says the full name, but she also says it as if she's heard it aggressively from her parents.
Which is not true.
But it's the way she says it. Like during the consecration, she let loose with a Jesus Christ right there.
Observant and correct of her to say.
Yeah, indeed. All right. It's Palm Sunday, so we have a long gospel and some other information, but a little bit different than normal. I don't think we've ever done a podcast of Palm Sunday before.
I don't think we have either. I don't know why.
I feel like I would have remembered that because we just get busy and sometimes
and distracted. Yeah. I think the first year we started Easter Sunday. That was like our first podcast.
Yep.
And wasn't I your first podcast?
You were.
Yeah.
I don't remember it being Easter though. Maybe it was. I don't know.
We recorded for Easter, I think. Yeah. Or no, we did. Maybe we did some test ones we didn't release.
I don't think so.
Oh, I don't know.
Anyways, 2-minute drill. Take it away.
2-minute drill. It is Palm Sunday of the Lord's Passion. We got a lot of readings, a lot of words here, folks. So we start off with a gospel at the procession, which is Matthew 21, 1-11. Where Father and many priests around the country this year going into Palm Sunday have to say the word ass multiple times, speaking about the animal, obviously.
We'll leave that to our deacons here at St.
Gotcha. Perfect.
Some people call this podcast that. It's all set for Sunday.
I thought you meant they called it donkey.
No, yes.
Okay.
Come up with a different acronym for that.
But it's the gospel here is the story of Jesus asking the disciples to help prepare the path and lead him into town. He sends them to find him an animal to ride on, so they get the beast of burden, which I love that they call it the beast of burden.
Be a t-shirt
or the foal of a beast of burden. But they come in, they lay the branches from the trees on the road. The crowds gather, they process, cry out, Hosanna to the Son of David. So it's always a nice lead in. It's got to make you feel good, Father, like that you get to kind of walk in the footsteps there of Jesus.
I've always enjoyed that, especially if you're able to have a procession with the people starting in the back and then carrying the palms and going in with you.
Do you guys bring a donkey in?
No, we do not. We do have everybody sing the Jesus Christ Superstar version of Hosanna, Hosanna as I come in though. You know what I'm talking about? Hey,
yes.
Hosanna, Hosanna, that one. Yeah.
Yes.
Just kidding. No, we do not.
It's Father Dufresne, who is a guest of ours. He does do a procession through his neighborhood on a donkey.
Really?
Leading up to this, yes. With his community.
We should go out there.
We really should.
That is cool.
I'm gonna reach out to him about
Do
it.
a live pod.
Live feed.
on the donkey.
Live, all set for
I don't
Sunday.
know if he rides the donkey. I don't know if that would be good for me to ride a donkey. The poor animal probably would.
Truly
maybe
a beast of burden. at
Maybe
that
a mule, but a donkey would be.
Maybe just a burdened beast.
My feet would just drag along the side of it. As it was.
You'd have to like hold your legs in the back, because you're tall. That's fun. All right. So the first reading then is Isaiah 50, 4-7. And Isaiah talks here about how the Lord prepared him, and he prepared him and made his, what did he say? Gave him a well-trained tongue. And so because of that, though, or as a part of that, though, he was attacked. He had insults hurled at him. People spit in his face. He turned his cheeks to them. He held strong, though, because even when he was attacked, it didn't matter. God had prepared him. God had helped him and is his help. So he is not disgraced. He's proud to represent the word. The responsorial psalm, I mean, top 5 bangers maybe of all time. My God, why have you abandoned me?
Oh yeah.
I mean, we're going to get some real impassioned. We're leading up. You may have like a horn section that shows up in your church this weekend. Like, you never know, but like you can really get into a flute. This is a big, I feel like this is a big flute responsorial song.
Call your flautist.
Call your local flautists, get them in. Maybe a piccolo player.
Perhaps.
What do you call a piccolo player?
Picklist?
A picklist?
I don't know.
I'll bet you're right. Huh.
I'll
All
have to
right.
ask my
Father, do you know?
I do not.
You seem to be full of useless knowledge most of the time.
Not
You
that
can ask
one.
our favorite piccolo player.
Oh yeah. Live call with Joe Sheehan.
Mhm.
Did you know that Mr. Sheehan?
He plays
Father
the piccolo? No.
You played in the Notre Dame marching band.
Is the
You think-
piccolo like one of those little like
No, it's the tiny flute.
oh, the one that goes like this. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. I
No,
did not
like
know
a
that.
flute. Yeah.
I don't think your hands would fit on a piccolo. No.
We'll have to-
It's like hold out one of your fingers. That's a piccolo. All right. The second reading then comes from Philippians 2 or 2 Philippians 6-11. No, Philippians chapter 2,
There you
6-11. Sorry about that.
That's all right.
And this is really like, it's just laying out for us. Jesus, here is who Jesus is. This is how he came. This is what he was. It truly is like almost a creed of sorts, laying out this explanation of this is who Jesus is. This is who Jesus is not. And be prepared, because Jesus Christ is Lord, to the glory of God the Father. And then our gospel. So Father, we thought we'd bring in some guests for the gospel. Which parts do you want to read today as we go through this?
We're going to read the whole thing now.
No, not really.
No. Oh, I was
We're
gonna say.
actually just going to ask you to
I'll
give
do
a
the
summary.
I'll
of
do
it.
the parts I always do. I'll do the Jesus parts then.
We're actually just going to have you read give us a quick summary of this gospel, if you don't mind.
You know, you
Really?
can just most places do it as the script, or what would you call that, with parts, but you can just read it straight through. That's also in the missal in the lectionary as an option.
Do you truly want to sit here while I read these 6 pages of?
No, I think people know the story. I think it's sufficient to say it is Matthew's passion narrative.
The
All right.
passion of Jesus Christ as written by Matthew.
Right, according to
Done.
Matthew, which is one of the longer ones. You know, it's year
Indeed.
A, so we get Matthew's.
This is also one of my favorites because I feel like you really like, I've never been to a church on Palm Sunday and not seen somebody who participated in this go into performance mode. Like, it's very hard. Like one of the participants
Like to start to scream, crucify him or something like that, you mean?
just like start to like try to get into character. Like, whereas you can just read this, or somebody like really starts to just embrace their role in the passion. It would be funny if somebody in the crowd just screamed crucify him, but like not at that time. Just-
You can do it. Like on the water boy.
yes. Maybe I'll try that this Sunday, or this Palm Sunday for you, Father.
That'd be just fine. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. All right.
There's our
Father,
2-minute drill.
did Jeff get anything wrong?
He did not. No.
Okay. What do you appreciate?
You know, I mean, it's a lot. Like I said, you could with Matthew's, it's longer. There's more details. You know, just so everybody knows, during Holy Week on Palm Sunday, Passion Sunday, year ABC, you'll get Matthew, Mark, then Luke's, Passion narrative. Then on Good Friday, you always get John's, which has somewhat of a different focus. And
Every year.
every year is John is on Good Friday every year. So you never get John on. So if you want to hear John's, you got to go at the usually 3 p.m. is the time for the adoration of the Holy Cross service on Good Friday. And yeah, Matthew's is fun. It as fun as the Passion narrative can be, but I think
You know what people say is a blast? Matthew's Passion narrative.
you get to proclaim the Eli Eli lama sabachthani, which is something that's always fun to say. But the thing with preaching on Passion Sunday, Palm Sunday, is the reading really takes care of most of it. Does say that you need to preach a homily, but it even says in there, even if short. So I typically do a shorter homily. I typically
Shorter than your normal homily?
yeah. So from my 7 or so minutes down to like 2 or 3 minutes. What I like to do though is to finish the homily with silence, a good minute of silence to give people a chance just to soak it in. Because again, and this is another not well-known thing, but in the lectionary, it specifically, we don't do this in St. Mark, but you're allowed to skip the first 2 readings and the psalm. You can go straight into the Passion, because to focus on that as what you want people to contemplate and hear. So some silence is always good, just to soak it all in. Everyone's going to pick up each year. You hear the Passion. It's not new to anyone, for the most part, who have gone to Mass, who have been raised Catholic their whole life, but there's always little parts that you might pick up on each and every year, whether it's the betrayal narrative of Peter that sometimes hits people harder, whether it's Jesus in the talking to the thief on the cross, whatever it might be. Each and every time that you might get something that you focus on. My homily is typically drawing attention to the fact that this is this is the sacrifice during which we want our salvation was won for us. There's really not much more that can be said than that. That this is the most important event, since the fall of mankind, really. That this is what will undo that. And if we call ourselves Christian, then we have to participate in what's going on Palm Sunday. That's why we have the Sunday obligation for Mass. We weren't there 2,000 years ago, but for us to participate in this sacrifice that we're hearing about, his death, his passion and death, then we go to Mass and experience that made present at the altar. The moment of Calvary is what is brought forward in time and made present, represented, again, made present on the altar each and every time we go to Mass. So it is there's really not, because I can't sit there during the homily for Palm Sunday. You can't go into a full exposition of everything. You have to just sort of, in a quick summary, get people to realize the magnitude of what they're hearing. Not only are we witnessing an event of true deicide in which human beings kill their creator or try to kill their creator, that in the greatest sort of reversal of all time, this also becomes the moment that Satan is definitively defeated here on earth.
I'm actually getting kind of hyped because I remember not that it will be the exact same homily you always give here, because it won't include a Beatles song, but but I've heard you give this, speak on this before and talk about it, and it is like a get hype moment. Like, it is one of those things where, just the way you were saying it there, like Scott reacted there, gives you chills when you hear that. And but it is true triumph that we're recognizing the sacrifice that leads us to the greatest triumph of all.
Right. What should be seen as the greatest triumph of Satan, that that even after he conquered Adam and Eve, now it seems that he thinks he's conquered the new Adam, and in having him rejected and killed, that it's at that moment that he's definitively defeated. And so you almost you almost wondered, did he suddenly realize when he gave his life up he just expiated all their sins, that that he just took it on himself. So I sort of, not to make it overly dramatic, but when I read the Passion narrative, I typically the Jesus part, I'll stand behind the altar so I can put the book on the altar. The readers are on both sides. When I preach at St. Mark, I either do so during the weekdays from the ambo or on Sundays in front of the altar. I typically just stay where I am and very briefly, in some way, summarize this for us to think about. and then just we sit for about a minute of silence. Because really, when you come face to face with that reality, our only response is just
Yeah.
in silence. Because there's other than just being grateful and soaking it in and accepting it, there's not very many words, short of, there's plenty of treatises and books and theology that can be every sentence of the passion narrative you can go through and see what's happened. But during the time of the homily at that mass isn't really the time for all that. It's mostly just to make sure people realize how incredibly awesome this is.
Yeah, and to dive in too much, you would almost take away from it.
Right. Yeah.
Like if you dove, if you decided to preach on Peter's betrayal, right, which in itself is this great piece of magnitude, but to dive in and really look at that loses the idea that, like, yes, this was important, and yes, this happened, and yes, it's good to reflect on outside of this, but in the end, it didn't matter. Like,
right. And you
God
really want
still
to
triumphs.
you want to leave people with the whole. I mean, if you did preach on, and some priests might each year maybe pick a piece and preach specifically on that, but there's there's also plenty of time throughout the year where other parts of this event come up. And I think at Palm Sunday especially, and in some sense this would be the same for Good Friday, that we, although there's certain parts of, and I know we're just talking about Palm Sunday, but John's passion narrative, which it's interesting that there are certain parts that really preach well on Good Friday that you can sort of save for that, particularly the people's responses. It's on Good Friday when everyone says we have no king but Caesar, which is in itself incredibly profound. Like, to hear humanity saying that while our true king is standing there about to be crucified, and then what that means and what, how even anyway. So I mean, yeah, so there is some, but for Palm Sunday itself, because that's when you have the, much more people are able to come Palm Sunday. Not everyone can come Good Friday at 3. It's just, you just want to kind of capture the whole, and too many words, I think, sort of take away from that. So I think if there's ever a time for a short, punchy sort of homily that lets the gospel stand on its own and just to sort of soak in, it's Palm Sunday.
Yeah. You said the word deicide.
Deicide, yes, like
Deicide.
So that would be.
Is that something that was, part of that time's, actions, or is this something that
deicide is just the technical way of saying to kill God, sort of like fratricide, to kill a brother, patricide, to kill a parent. Deicide, I think, in the pagan tradition there was plenty of gods killing each other, right? But I'm saying, deicide this is the only true act, the true act of deicide that's not mythical, that's
right, that
humanity tries to kill its creator.
But that term existed in a mythical fashion.
Well, I mean, so that would be from the Latin.
Okay.
So, but I'm sure there was, whether there was a single word for it. The concept.
We all know God speaks Latin,
right?
So.
That's right.
Get out of the weeds.
The language of heaven, but I'm sure there's a Greek version, whatever it is. But the technical way of saying, I mean, because how else do you describe it? But an act of deicide, which again, not to focus on the negative side of it, but even in that, it sort of teaches us that God's triumph over sin was, nothing with that. No matter what the sin is, no matter what the darkness that humanity brings, he's able to conquer it and bring about a greater good.
Yeah. Is there, you talked a lot about Good Friday, and we won't have a podcast specifically for Good Friday, so this kind of leads us into Holy Week and Easter. Is there anything specific that really motivates you, or we should?
So for the Triduum in general, I think, because of course, Palm Sunday, Easter Sunday, Holy Thursday, Good Friday, just as a plug, if you're able to go to your parish. I know Holy Thursday masses are typically like 7 p.m. Ours is 7 p.m. They're in the evening. Good Friday is not a mass. It's the whole Triduum is almost like a single mass in itself that begins Holy Thursday and ends with the Easter Vigil. If you're able to go Holy Thursday and Good Friday, I think it's an incredibly important and beautiful thing to do. And again, you get Holy Thursday, so you get John's narrative of the Last Supper, which focuses on the washing of the feet, not the institution narrative like Matthew, Mark, and Luke, but the washing of the feet. And then the institution of the priesthood and of the first mass, which then leads into Good Friday. If you've never been to the Adoration of the Cross service, it's, again, there's no Eucharistic prayer. Communion is received at the end from the hosts that are left over from Holy Thursday. But you also have a chance to come and adore a cross, just to sort of show reverence to the cross itself. Then the Easter Vigil is the beginning of the celebration of the resurrection. And the Easter Vigil is the most magnificent liturgy of the year. It's if your parish has anyone who is a catechumen or a candidate, especially catechumens, but most parishes also do candidates. So those who are to be baptized as Catholic as adults, or those who might already be baptized as other Christian denominations to be confirmed as Catholics, they come in oftentimes during the Easter Vigil. And it's just to see all of that in 1 3-day period it's an incredible experience. And the liturgies flow into each other, one from another. So just as a plug, I would say, if you're able to do those, and the Easter Vigil satisfies your Easter, that's your Easter Mass. So you can do that. It's in the evening. Ours starts like at 8. It's supposed to start after sundown on Holy Saturday.
I think one of the most powerful things during that time as well, and it's not necessarily specifically part of one of the liturgies, but in between Holy Thursday and Good Friday, the tabernacle's empty.
Right, and the altar is stripped bare. Yeah.
Right, and to see that image and to see like the door is wide open most of the time, that's something to see if you've never seen it before.
No, it is. It's staggering.
And
Father,
if you're
you
able, I was going to say too, Holy Thursday ends in what we call an altar of repose. So the hosts that are remaining are pulled out of the tabernacle, the ones that will be used for Good Friday as well. They're usually processed through the church or processed in some way to an altar of repose, where they're kept for like a night watch, which is a good time to come pray. It's almost like you're there in Gethsemane, praying with Christ as he undergoes the agony in the garden. And then at the end of the evening, it's the hosts are put away and the sacristy is locked away. The tabernacle is left empty until the solemn celebration at Easter for the Easter Vigil.
My family, probably 5 or 6 years ago, we started making it like a high priority during Holy Week to attend all of these different services and do it as a family. And it's become our favorite tradition of the year. Like my girls just the other day were talking about how excited they were for Holy Thursday, and the experiences of it, which makes me feel blessed for sure. And then we always do the Easter Vigil. And then after the Easter Vigil, we bust out of there as fast as we can and go to the local Mexican restaurant and get lots of chips and dip and margaritas because the tomb is empty. And so
they stay open. Which one stays open that late?
Margaritas just down the street.
Gotcha.
They're usually very close to close. So when we go in, we just ordered. The first year we did it, we got in there and we said, what if we just ordered dips and chips? And they were like, yeah, that's perfect. And so that's what we just do.
We have a party at St. Mark as well for those who just joined the church and their families and guests. So it's a good time to start partying. Lent is over. Easter has begun.
You said something earlier that struck me in the imagery, and we don't even have to dive into it. But if you were looking for something to really focus on your homily, I think this is a good one. The idea of Satan thinking he had won, and like little does he know that over like the next day he will realize that like instead of ending his killing his enemy, he instead just took on the burden of sin of all of humanity. Like I don't remember how you worded it, but that was like striking.
Yeah, the moment that he would have thought was his greatest triumph was actually the moment of his supreme defeat. And there's a beautiful reading in the Liturgy of the Hours for the Office of Readings. It's my favorite of the year on Holy Saturday about Christ, as we say in the Apostles' Creed, he descended into hell, meaning him going into, you might call hell or limbo, the place where all of those who had anticipated, all of the prophets and all of the righteous who could not yet be admitted to heaven because the gates were not yet open, to go and essentially to bring them to their salvation. There's even beautiful imagery, artwork of this, where he comes in, and oftentimes it'll show even Adam and Eve sort of standing there as they've been waiting ever since the beginning for this moment. In Dante's Inferno, when Dante comes to the gates of hell, they've been literally kicked in, they've been burst in, and they're shattered from this moment. So it sounds dramatic, but it is
no joke. I'm hyped.
It's a very, very, this is why the Triduum and this week, Holy Week, beginning on Palm Sunday, ending on Easter, is the most important week of the year. This is what Christianity, this is This is what Christianity is all about. This is our Super Bowl and 4th of July all rolled into one.
For our Easter sock next year, we should do Jesus kicking in the gates of hell. That would be awesome. All right.
Dumb questions?
Dumb questions. You ready, Father?
I'm ready.
All right, Father, I'm going to ask this question for Catholics all over the world. Say I've got palms that I like keep forgetting to bring to church when I'm supposed to. And I have years and years and years worth of palms and I don't know what to do with them. Can you give me some instructions on what
If your parish does not collect them, some do.
what if the parish
it never
does, but I
happens.
I don't know where and I don't know when, and
So that's
probably
fine.
don't
So
read the bulletin.
you got
So-
two good options. Spring's coming up. It's going to be nice out. Burn them in your bonfire, in your outback bonfire, and they should burn well, especially if they're old. Or just bury them lightly in your garden, under the mulch, just sort of in the earth. You don't want to throw them away. So they're blessed. So they shouldn't be thrown away. They can be very easily burned and they can be very easily buried. You have to bury them deep, but you can just sort of mix them in with the dirt, the earth near your house, and they'll and
You
it
like
will-
chop them up, mix them in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, or just, just break them and put them in there. The easiest thing to do is burn them though. If you're having a bonfire at home or campfire or anything, that's what when we collect them, we put them in the Easter fire. That begins the Easter vigil. Just don't throw them away.
Do you remember last year when you almost caught on fire during the Easter?
I
fire?
do. It was like
Oh, wow.
like extremely high wind. The fire
Yes.
was sideways. My
And there-
chasuble
and
was flopping all around.
The local Boy Scouts had used quite a bit of
Yeah.
flammable support liquids.
You're supposed to light the Easter candle from that fire, but the poor servers, when they try to get this big wick thing, it was so intense and blowing so hard it just disintegrated.
One of them
So
burned.
Kai burned his hand. So we eventually caught a little piece of it and protected it and got it inside because we couldn't get the candle. We couldn't light the Easter. It was so windy. Yeah. And we're on St. Mark is right on US 31 South, or East Street as it's called here. So inevitably where the fire is, you get to hear lots of like muscle cars revving up on the road and lots of noise on the road right next to it.
All right. So that was my first one. I have lots of other questions, but we've been talking for a while. So my last one will be, you have been talking lots at Mass about our pictorial directory. And how you in fact told the entire church last weekend that you were going to start shaming people into signing up for their to get their pictures done. Why does the pictorial directory so important to you?
Very often, especially when you're new to a parish, but it often happens that I need to talk to someone or reach out to someone. And I think to myself, I know that name. I just need to see their face real quick. And then I go to for us, the last one we did was like 2017. So it's getting old. And I open it up and it seems like a third, if that, of our registered parishioners are in there. So many people don't get their pictures taken and put them in the directory. And there's simply no excuse for it because it's free. And so I think it's good to have a nice full pictorial directory as a time capsule, so you can see everybody that the parish is well seen.
It is free. It's freemium. When we went, I don't know if you guys do it differently, but we did it at our parish a couple of years ago. And you walk in and you sign up for the slot. You walk in and you go to the curtain, and then there was this side room. After you get your picture taken, they take you in the side room and then
To try and sell you more. Yeah.
they
You
sell
just
you
gotta
a-
be, if you don't want to buy now, if you want family pictures done, that's a great way to do it because you can buy them. For us, you automatically get a free 8x10 if you're a registered parishioner, and you get to pick which one it is. They probably will try and push and sell more. Just tell them if you don't
That's
want
fine.
them,
We bought it.
tell them no thanks. I'm gonna get a whole bunch of very formal ones that I'm gonna have made into oil paintings and put them around the rectory.
Of yourself.
Like one of me standing there
favorite
with Father John,
parishioners.
standing behind me, one holding
The stepbrother's
one
picture.
holding a cat. I'm just gonna have a cat that I'm petting. One
Please
where
do
I'm
it.
holding like a
If
thing of
you-
bourbon and just put
If
it above
you
the
get
fireplace.
that picture, if you get that picture with Father John, I will get it made into a painting and we will auction that thing off next year.
Where
at
we're
our
both wearing
fundraiser.
sweaters
And it will
sitting
go,
like this.
yes, and it will go for incredible money. Like I can't begin to imagine And it'll be at the 75th anniversary celebration.
right.
The Archbishop might buy it. He might be the one who buys it.
I think the Archbishop would become concerned and think you is like, why? What are they doing? What a weird place. No, but no, yeah, it's just, and I was given the task by the committee to get as many as possible. So next week I'm going to say, raise your hand if you're a registered parishioner. Now drop your hand if you've already gotten signed up for your pictures. So then we'll get to look at all the hands that are still up.
And I better sign up. I'm trying to convince my wife I want to do everyone in the family in matching outfits. And she
For us at St. Mark, this is also our 75th anniversary. So this is a big one. We want it to be nice and full.
all right.
All right, very good.
Yeah.
I'm
Thanks,
that was
Father.
interesting to everyone else listening.
I thought it was great.
Thank you
Thank you,
guys.
Father.
Happy Holy Week.
You as well. Peace.